music of the night. Slowly, gently, night unfurls its splendor. Grasp it, sense it, tremulous and tender. Hearing is believing, music is deceiving. Hard as lightning, soft as candlelight. Dare you trust the music of the night? Close your eyes, for your eyes will only tell the truth, and the truth isn't what you want to see. In the dark, it is easy to pretend that the truth is what it ought to be. Softly, deftly, music shall caress you. Hear it, feel it, secretly possess you. Open up your mind, let your fantasies align in this darkness which you know you cannot fight. The darkness of the music of the night. Close your eyes, start a journey through a strange new world. Leave all thoughts of the world you knew before. Close your eyes and let music set you free. Only then can you belong to me. Floating, falling, sweet intoxication. Touch me, trust me, savor each sensation. Let the dream begin, let your daughter side within. To the power of the music that we write. The power of the music of the alone can make my song take flight. Help me make the music of the Help me make the He is one of our most beloved entertainers, so it makes perfect sense
for him to be currently in our most famous theatre, extended to February as The Wizard of Oz at the London Palladium. From boy soprano and Let's Make an Opera to acting with Phil Silvers, John Lennon, Barbra Streisand, and creating umpteen unforgettable roles. Master showman Michael Crawford. Hello, Michael.
Wow. Good morning, Bernie.
Now, don't be rubbish after that.
No, I can't be. The pressure's on.
It's a bit anticlimax after that. You're doing with Wizard of Oz what you did in Barnum. Little kids are coming to the show having just the same fun as their grandparents. How rare is that in theatre today, outside of Panto?
Well, it's very rare. I think in the steps we've come on since 5 years ago, even in the theatre, the design of this show is something like I've never seen. The technical stuff that we had to do before we started took a month, and that's a heck of a long time. You know, you usually work for a week and a half on tech, and this was 3.5 weeks. The colours, the sounds, there's film in there for the twister that goes on, and it's scary, it's exciting. And I can gush about it because I sat and watched some of it the other day when we did a dress run for a replacement girl, and saw some of this stuff for the first time, and I couldn't believe my eyes.
Of course, what you don't see when you're on stage with the lights in your eyes, you don't see the eyes of the audience, of the kids, expectant, full of wonderment, do you? But you see them afterwards, don't you, as the wizard?
We do. This is very new, and I think a very good idea that we come out onto the steps of the London Palladium, the front steps after the evening shows, and Danielle Hope, who plays Dorothy, and myself, we just stand out there and sign programs and have our photos taken with these people and with the young kids. And the looks on their faces, many dressed as Dorothy and Tin Men and Scarecrows, these little kids. But the parents, who are usually old friends of mine from years gone by, and telling their kids about some mothers and educating them, and then they're going home to discover who I was without the white wig as the wizard. It is a sort of coming together. You get families in there, which is not always the case with shows.
And it's so important. It's a cliche, but if you get them when they're young kids, then they're there for life. Was it Gene Kelly for you on stage?
Danny Kaye was the first person I saw, and it was at the London Palladium, and again, you just never forget it as long as you live. There are moments in the theatre, like West Side Story, the first West Side Story I saw, and that inspired me to want to be in musical theatre. I was always a straight actor before that, but I saw this when I was about 23, 24, and from there on I just longed to get up and sing and dance. All I had to learn to do was sing and dance.
Easy.
It took years.
And your grandchildren are pleased you did it now, are they?
They're delighted, yes. I'm glad to say I was taking rather a chance. We rented a house last year in Sicily, and an unlikely meeting place for a whole family, and we were round the pool, and I hadn't seen them for 3 years. I was in New Zealand recovering from an illness I had, and they were of an age where you could have a conversation, and they had points of view, and what they were now learning and absorbing at school. And I started to do, as you do, back somersaults into the pool, and they never realised that Papa could do anything like this, and was usually the one who told them to eat with the right knife and fork, and they weren't getting down till they finished their broccoli. So I wasn't very popular until last year. And then, having made them laugh and them enjoy themselves so much, I had this offer to do Wizard, and Andrew Loboba called me and said, would I be interested? And I thought, this is my chance to show off to my grandchildren, and I took it. And I hadn't intended really to do much more work. I was enjoying sailing and fishing and growing things in the garden, and I was really having a good time. But now I'm having an even better time.
And that's how you got better, wasn't it? Because the illness you talk about, you initially thought it was flu. You were in the rubber suit as Count Fosco and the woman in white, yeah? And you just thought it was a common garden illness that you had.
Yes, I became ill, and then found that I had no energy whatsoever when I should have been better about a week later. This went on for 3 months. I couldn't sustain any energy through a day. And I had I had everything, including a brain scan to see what was wrong with me, because no one could see. My heart seemed to be that of a 40-year-old, and or the rest of my organs seemed in good nick, but something was wrong, and it seemed so difficult to be able to do anything about it, Emmy, to say what will help it, everyone has a different formula to get better, and it's not something you can offer advice on, but it certainly is a dreadful thing for youngsters to have, because they get it, young kids have it.
And it's so debilitating, is it? It saps the lifeblood out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like any illness that you can't see, like a mental illness, they can't see it, so therefore there's nothing. It's so hard to describe. It's so hard for a child especially to come out of.
And has it now gone, Michael, from you, or are you living with it? Are you controlling it now?
I like to think it's gone. I've worked long enough days now with the rest of the team there. I saw an article in last week's paper about this is what it feels like to be old. And it was this woman with all these things wrapped around her and scratched eyes on her glasses and earmuffs on to say that this is what you're hearing, happens to your hearing, and this. And I thought, this is appalling. And I'm so glad I haven't reached that point yet, but I'm in late 60s, and I'm feeling just splendid.
And people don't think you are, you know. As I was coming here, I said I was going to talk to you, and Helman on reception said, "How old's Michael now? 55?" I said, "Yeah, he'll take that. 55.
Yes, I will.
That's what he is."
Thank you very much indeed.
And you have two big numbers in this show, so it's a nice way of getting back after a break, isn't it?
It is. I don't have too much to do in the show. I'm the sort of figurehead as the wizard who comes on very near the end and sorts the boys out with their heart and brain and their courage, and then at the beginning I start off as Professor Marvel.
I love Professor Marvel. That song's brilliant.
Oh, I love Wonders of the World. Yes, it tells Dorothy all about the things that you can see just from your own front door, and pictures and the wonder of the world around us. But don't forget the wonderment of home. And then she goes off on her journey from there on, and then I turn up as a guard for Emerald City with a very, very low pair of trousers that make the kids laugh. And
that's how they all wear them these days, Michael.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I didn't realise that, but I don't turn around and bend over. There's no plumbers, whatever it is, showing.
If I remember rightly, you showed that as Frank Spencer in a kilt one time.
Oh, that's right, I did.
So we've already seen it. Thanks, Michael.
Yes, I told my grandchildren, can't quite believe their eyes. It's when they see that.
What's happened to Papa?
Papa, I cannot believe that you did that. I can't tell anyone at school about it.
And if it's the wonderment of home that is the central crux of Wizard of Oz, where's main home for you now? Where in the world?
Do you know, I was talking about that with Dorothy yesterday, with Danielle Hope, and she said, "Where do you call home?" And I said, "Home is where your head is. Wherever we work, wherever we go, we're sort of gypsies in the world as actors, because we're forever travelling. You spend 4 years touring in America, and you if you weren't, you've got to find the good in every place you go, and it's exciting to travel. It's what most of us want to do all our lives. And so when you get the opportunity, enjoy it. But home is here, back in the UK.
And we're pleased. The UK is inordinately proud of you. And you have made people so happy over so many years in your career. I can't begin to tell you. Michael is the Wizard of Oz until February at the Palladium. wizardofozthemusical.com. Here's the number for tickets: 0844 412 2957. A real pleasure to talk to you, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernie. My pleasure too. Thank you. Bye.
Ta-da! Oh, yes, indeed. And now